Hello, F2 Fan 5000 here, and a very important video I need to make about changes that need to be made to the F1 Super License Point system. And the current system is far too generous, it is far too broad, and it is certain championships they give too many points for drivers that aren't in the top positions in a championship. So we're going to go through all that, and then we're going to talk about what should happen, what the system should be. So here we have a look at the current FIA Super License points table. This is the top half. That's the bottom half. Now, the thing about Formula One these days is that there are always very few seats available. It's probably always been something like that. There's one or two drivers coming in on average every year. Sometimes you get seasons where no one enters Formula One. Other years you might get three or four or six. About one or two drivers every year enters the sport, and we hear things like timing or whatever. I think it's very important that the best drivers, only the right, the current the current super license point system allows for very good drivers to enter. But if we have this series that's supposed to be the best racing series in the world, we should have a super license point system that ensures that only the very best of the best drivers are entering Formula One. Not just sort of average or, what can I say, very good drivers, but because it's so hard to enter Formula One, this should be the elite drivers that are making it. And if we look at this table, we can see that drivers who are not elite level who are very good but not elite can enter Formula One. And how's that? Well, there are so many championships and there's points all the way down. And I think the most egregious example is the FIA Formula 2 Championship. I want to focus on this screen in particular. Now, you need 40 points for a super license. And not only does the winner of F2 get 40 points, but the runner-up also gets 40 points. And the driver in third place also gets 40 points. So what that's saying is if you're in Formula 2 and you win the championship, your reward is exactly the same as the driver that finishes third in the championship. How is that meritocracy? How is that? Okay, now I know that there's another issue at play here. A lot of people like to argue that there's a discrepancy between teams in Formula 2 and the final points table is not a true reflection of ability. Yes, even if that is so, think about it. There is no other way of determining where these drivers are. Firstly, it's the only method to determine how good the drivers are. And secondly, it's not really the fault of the drivers, so why are they being punished? If I win Formula 2, I should get more super license points than a driver in third place. And we've seen that this particular table, this, I would say, egregious decision to give points to the driver in third place, the same number of super license points to the driver in third place as in the first place, has already had a negative effect. If we look at 2021, for example, Oscar Piastri won Formula 2 in his first season, and Zhou Guanyu finished third in his third season. Oscar Piastri was 20 years old at the time, and Zhou Guanyu was 23 years old at the time. And in 2022, Zhou Guanyu entered Formula One, and Oscar Piastri, who won Formula 2, was not in Formula One and had an uncertain future at that time. Obviously, it's worked out for Piastri, but the point is, this super license system allowed a driver who finished third in the championship to leapfrog a driver that won the championship and a driver that not was only more experienced but older. This is an example of how this is not a merit-based approach. The other thing I want to say is this also doesn't tell any information about how long the driver has been in the series. We know that there's a lot of churn in Formula 2. There's always drivers moving on from the series, and the F2 champion is not allowed to return. So once you're an F2 champion, you must leave the series and move on. So and usually the driver, even if you finish second or third, you usually leave Formula 2 because it's not a final destination series. So allowing drivers to remain in the series well into their 20s and compete, and then offering them the same amount of super license points as a driver in their first year is also egregious. Looking at the current super license points available, we can also see that drivers have 3 years across which they can accumulate 40 points. And as you can see, there are a lot of different series that give points. So the main ones that drivers use to secure the super license points are Formula 2, Formula 3, Formula Regional European Championship, and the Formula Regionals, such as Formula Regional Middle East and Formula Regional Oceania. These are the main championships currently in use to get drivers a super license. The thing about some of these championships, they are what we call winter series. A winter series takes place between January and February. It must have 5 rounds and 3 separate circuits with a different layout of the circuit being considered a separate track. So you need 3 separate tracks, including different layouts of the same track, and you need 5 rounds. You can't get super license points from these series unless the start date and finishing date does not overlap. And that's why you have winter series, right? For drivers to boost their super license points. Now, notice that if you win IndyCar or Formula 2, you get 40 points, which is the super license. Notice how if you win Formula Regional Middle East, Formula Regional America, Japan, or Oceania, you get 18 points. That's almost half a super license. And I can't imagine a world in which winning Formula 2 or IndyCar can be compared with winning Formula Regional America or Formula Regional Oceania. That's not on the same level, but that gives you half a super license right there. Now, obviously, drivers can also beef their super license with the sports car series you see here, like DTM, which has been done before with drivers like Paul di Resta and Pascal Wehrlein, but that's less popular now. But here's the thing, here's the kicker for me. All these series, Formula Regional, and then we look at some of them here, like F4, GB3, F1 Academy, Euro Formula Open. All these series to me are merely a feeder series to F Formula 2. You look at the pyramid, all those series F4, if you do well in F4, you go to Formula Regional. If you're doing Formula Regional, you go to F3. If you're doing well in F3, you go to F2. All right, this system was brought in because before 2017, there were many championships such as GB3, European Formula 3, Renault 3.5, that and drivers could the series diverged, and if a driver won those series, they could enter Formula One. Drivers such as Kevin Magnussen, Carlos Sainz, Valtteri Bottas, Esteban Ocon have all entered, as well as Lance Stroll and Max Verstappen. They've all entered without even entering Formula 2. So it was divergent, and all the best talent in the world was not competing against itself. So now they come up with this pyramid in 2019 to show that Formula 2 is also a feeder series for IndyCar, Super Formula, World Endurance, and Formula E, right? Along with Formula 1, they are the main professional sports car series. There's also series like IMSA, European Le Mans, Asian Le Mans, stuff like this, but they're the main ones, those five. Obviously, Formula One is the one at the top, and then you have these other series that are the main professional circuit based motorsport series in the world. And Formula 2 leads into all of them. These series really are, and as you see, karting's at the bottom, all this leads to Formula 2. But with this, drivers that finish in decent positions in Formula Regional and Formula 3 and all that don't even need to rely on Formula 2 for super license points, which means they don't need to be the best in the world. They can get a super license and enter Formula 1. And just to going to show how generous this system is, we've just finished the F3 Championship. In 2025, there were at least three drivers entering the grid that already had a super license. They hadn't even turned a wheel in Formula 3 and they already had a super license. And some of these drivers are not even ready to move up this year from F3 to F2, and yet they already have a super license or they have the points. All right, so Rafael Camara obviously won Formula Regional European Championship, so that's 25 points. And in Formula Regional Middle East, he's finished third, which is 12 points. And in previous years, he's finished fifth. So he'd get more points for that. So Rafael Camara would have had a super license before entering F3, and so would Tuukka Tarpinen, and so would James Lawton. These three drivers, before even competing in F3, already had this Formula One super license, which is crazy to think about, that these drivers are, I don't know, as I said, it's just crazy to think. You haven't even started Formula 3 and you already have the points for a super license. And not only that, but Ugo Ogachukwu was close as well to having a super license. He had, I'm not entirely sure, but it's 30 something. And once you hit 30, once you're in the 30s, you can cover the distance between the points that you have and the 40 points by doing FP1 sessions and practice sessions. Yeah, and to me, you're being too generous with how many people get the super license points. But here's my main point. Let's suppose I was a very good driver and I finished fourth in Formula Regional Middle East. Then I finished fifth in Formula Regional European. I went to Formula Regional Oceania the next year and finished third. And then I went to F3 and I finished fifth. So By finishing fourth in Formula Regional Middle East, I got 10 points. By finishing fifth in Formula Regional European, I got 7. So that's 17, right, for the 1 year. As I said, Formula Regional Middle East happens before Formula Regional European, and because of that, they can add the points. Then in the second year, I go to Formula Regional Oceania, and I got 29 points. And then I finished fifth in F3. I got 41. But the thing is that I haven't even got anywhere close to winning Formula 2, but a Formula 1 can choose me over a Formula 2 champion. And for me, that's just not meritocracy. That's not. If you're going to have this Formula 1 the way it is, where it's basically a closed shop, very hard to enter, timing, and uh, all that, then the drivers that enter should be the best of the best of the best. And this system undermines that whole concept of the best of the best of the best. And what can we do about it? All right. And as I said before, people want to say, well, it's not fair because blah, blah. F2, the teams are different. F3, the teams are different. They're not exactly the same. Well, I mean, again, as I say, it's not the fault of the driver, and you're punted in by taking that viewpoint that someone winning F2, to me, it's not a mistake. All right, but I've had a good think about all this stuff, and I thought of a way in which the absolute elite level drivers always enter Formula One, and the more very good but not on that level are left out. It's a completely new super license system that I've come up with that replaces this one. I know a lot of people won't like it, but I like it. I think it's a much better system. So it's more scrutiny on the drivers entering, and they need to be, to me, when you watch the Olympics, for example, the top three in any sport, they get the top person gets a gold medal. It's like, oh, a gold medal, and the person that finishes second, it's like, yeah, I got silver. It's good, but they wanted the gold, and then the person third got the bronze, and everyone else is forgotten. So why, as you can see here, someone finishing fourth in Formula 2 is already getting 30 points. They're getting 3/4 of the gold medal. Finishing fourth. Fifth, they get 20 points, half a gold medal for finishing fifth. And a super license system should reward the best drivers, and I think the fact that drivers such as Nikita Mazepin, Nicholas Latifi, the fact that they are able to make Formula One, and some of the drivers that haven't, shows that there's a problem. And I think some of the drivers now probably, I think it's a strong crop of young drivers now. But as I said, the only thing you can go by with these drivers is what they do on track, right? If there's a problem with, Formula 2, the teams are different, that's a problem that needs to be fixed by Bruno Michel. But don't forget, the drivers themselves help the team set up the car the way they want it. So it's almost like we're punishing a driver for their technical feedback, right? If we say a driver that's driving well in Formula 2, oh, well, his car's good. To me, that's just, punishing a driver for their feedback, right? And I think, and as I said, I'll come up with a new system. So first thing you notice, and compared with the current FIA one, you know how it's going down to 10th, and there's super license points for all the drivers down to 10th place. Well, here, no, only, and different series have different amount of points compared to now. So, as you see, if you're, and this has a time component, right? So if you return for a second or third or fourth year, the amount of points that you earn in a series like F2 or F3, where's F3? Here, is reduced. Right, so F2 is the main one. We see in the first year, there are super license points for the top three, and it's reduced. The first one gets more points, the second one gets less points, and the third one gets less. And in the second year, if this is your second year in Formula 2, you have to finish in the top two just to get super license points. If you return for a third season, you have to finish in the top two, and the number of points available is reduced. And if you return for a fourth year, you have to win the title or you don't get super license points. And it's less. Each year, winning the title is worth less. And notice how, because of the nature of Formula 2, you know, the champion can't remain in the series. So that drop-off is very strong. Whereas something like Formula E or IndyCar, where people can defend their title, firstly, there's points further down, and the drop-off is still a decent amount of points after their third season. So if I win F2 in my fourth season, I get 100 points. If I win my fourth season of IndyCar, I get 150. Because the grid is more complete. There isn't this rushing in and out. Super Formula, I was going to give Super Formula more points, but I've had a look at some of the drivers like Ritomo Miyata struggling when they come to Europe, so I've reduced the amount of points available. Now this is just the first guide. Maybe this needs tweaking, but I think it's very good as it is. Notice you see there's different series mentioned, but the main thing is the main ones obviously are here. So F3, you get 50 points, which is a lot less. Right, look at the gap. In the current system, if you win F2, doesn't matter if you've been there 1 year or 5, you get 40 points. If you win F3, you get 30 points. In my system, if you win F3, and only in your rookie year, then you'll get 50 points. If you win it, but it's your second or third year, you only get 25 points. It's a huge difference. It's a huge drop-off. And there's a reason why I'm giving points for F3 and Formula Regional, because I thought about it. I thought there are drivers that at a young age show incredible potential at a very young age. So I had to think of a system so that drivers that showed that extraordinary potential when they were young could be rewarded. And I came up with this system here. Drivers have to reach a certain amount of super license points, and that amount goes up each year depending on their age. And as you can see, so if you get 17, you need 65 points to get a super license. Once you're 18, you need 75 points. 19, you need 90 points. 20, you need 100. 21, you need 110. And then it leaps up. It goes 130, 160. By the time you're 25, you need 250 points. Now, I think that's very fair because by the time you're 25, you've had more time to compete in series such as F2, F3, whatever, Super Formula, and then I've also included some other series that, such as MotoGP and World Rally Championship, which would allow someone to score a super license because it's all racing. But I've only done that for completion's sake. But the thing is, obviously, if I make it really tough to get a super license points, then I think, well, what about drivers like Max Verstappen or Kimi Antonelli who show that greatness at a young age? So I thought, well, as they do now, there's points for karting that you have a certain amount of points at a certain age. All right. And take this for example. If I win F2 on debut, my first year I get 170 points. Now, in isolation, that's enough to get me a super license before my 24th birthday. But if I was a 27-year-old, I would need 300 points to earn a super license and I would only get 170 by winning F2 on debut. All right, so my super license point system recognises all these things. And we're going to have a look at some different drivers and how my super license points and if they've got a super license or not. So we're going to start with Max Verstappen. Right, so the current super license point system was brought in because of Max Verstappen. He was considered too young, and they had to bring in a system. That's part of it, right? It's not all because Max Verstappen got in. We've got to stop that happening again, but it's part of why they conceived the current system. Now, I think he represents an extraordinary talent. If I said elite, I think that's not even commensurate with how good Max Verstappen is. I mean, as you know, right, I don't really need to tell you. So the current super license system, no, he probably doesn't get in at all. What about my super license system? Well, what second half, and you see there's points for karting. All right, I'm not an expert, but I've got some idea of, KF2, KZ, AKJ, all this stuff means different things. So I've come up with a sort of system that reflects that. So for all the minor championships, if you win it, you get 1 point, that's it. If it's sort of like a promising on the level of K3 internationals I've got here, you get 2 points for winning, 1 for second place. If you've got what I call intermediate, which is like KZ2 or, some championship that's high level but not quite on the level of FIA or WSK, then you get 3 points for winning, 2 points for second, 1 point for third. And in the senior category, which is FIA and WSK, KZ1, KF1, KZ, KF, or OK categories as well, then you get 5 points, right? So if we go through the karting, all right, and then obviously I just should mention in my super license system, there's no 3-year rule. It accumulates, but each year you have to score more points. That's how it works. So, looking at Max Verstappen, all right, 2005, one minor championship, 1 point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So, but from 2005, 2009, he's got 10 points for for those tiny championships. Now, in 2010, you see WSK Euro Series KF3. He finishes first, so that's another point, 11. Then you see the CIK, these are continental, but look, CIK FIA World Cup KF3, that's international KF3 level. He's finished second, so he'll get a point for that. And then he'll get another point for Bridgestone Cup. So let me go back 10, 11, 12, 13, and now I'm going to give him 2 points for the World Series and the Nations Cup each. So that's 17 points. And then 2011, he's WSK Euro Series KF3 wins, so I'll give him another point for that, which is on a Euro Series might as well get all points. So that's 19. South Garter F2, I'll give him 2 points for that, is 21. WSK Master Series, I'll give him 3 points for that, is 24. FIA World Cup KF2, I'll give him 26 points. Now, South 28. Now, WSK Euro Series wins it, so that's 5 points. So that's because that's the top classification, the KZ1, the KF. So that's 5 points there, and that's 33. And then he'll get to 35. No, 36. 3 points for winning the Master Series. And then all this is worth 5 points. So that's 50 points plus 2 for finishing third here. So it's 52 points from karting. And at the end of 2013, he's 16 years old and he has 52 points. He needs another 13. Now, as we see here, Florida Winter Series is an F4 level championship, first time in cars, and he'd get 5 points for that. So that's 57. And because he finished third in the Florida Winter Series. And then he skips the Formula. If we look over here, Formula Regional European Championship was F3, and he finishes third at that, and that's his first season at that level. That's 10 points, which brings him to 67, plus the Zandvoort Masters he wins. I've got something here, other championship, 321. I think it's a one-off. Let's say we give him 1 point for that. It's not an actual series. It's just, a one-off. But let's give him a point for winning it. That's 68 points. Now, he does that by the end of 2014 and his 17th birthday. And for a 17-year-old, they need 65 points. And I said he had 68. So under my system, Max Verstappen would indeed get a Formula One super license. He would have been able to compete on the grid in 2015. All right, so let's look at some of the other drivers that might be interesting to look at. Nicholas Latifi, right? So under the current system, yeah, of course he gets a super license because he finished second in F2. All right, let's look at his karting. Let's start off with his karting career. And I have to say, remember what I said about Max Verstappen. Of course, if he turned 18, then it would be a different story because then he'd need 75 points. But looking at Nicholas Latifi's karting career, I know, but it's I'll give him 1 point for his karting career. So he goes straight up to F3, and I look here, and he hasn't finished in the top three in anything, so I'm not even going to look at it. And then I see second in the F2 Championship. So let's bring up the super license points for the F2 Championship. So it says here, depending on the year you are at, so he's finished second. Now, is it his first, second, third, or fourth? So he's done a full season in 2016. Right, I'm not going to count the part season. The full season and he's done parts here and there in 14 and 15. So that's not half a season. So let's just leave it alone for the moment. For full season in 2016, 17 and 18. So this is his fourth year. And he finishes second. So by the time you're a fourth year driver in F2, I'm not giving you super license points for finishing second. You need to win it. So at this point in time, he only has one super license point, and he's born in 1995. So at the end of 2019, he's 24, and he needs 200. So he's 199 points short, and I think that's very fair because if we look at his Formula One career, it's underwhelming. It's not like, the current super license point system wants to test, is this driver able to compete in Formula One? Right? And of course, Nicholas Latifi is good enough to compete in Formula, to sit in the car and not kill everyone, all right? But what he's not able to do is compete at a higher level. He's only there making up the numbers in F1. And because it's so hard these days to enter Formula One, we want the best of the best drivers to enter Formula One. So Latifi, no super license points for you. What's another driver we want to look at? Oh, let's go with Andrea Kimi Antonelli. So he needs to have 65 points before his 18th birthday. All right, so let's bring up this. He loves Ayrton Senna and he wants 12. So let's bring up his karting. Right, so for these minor championships, I'm going to give that 2 points. And then this is minor stuff, so it's another 2 points. We've got 4 points. Hang on, let's start again. So when it comes to Kimi Antonelli, 2 minor stuff, 2 points, 4 points, 6 points. But then at the end of 2018, we see WS final OKJ. That's a high level series, and yes, he raced with Nico Rosberg. So South Garda OKJ, I'll give 2 points. So that's 8 points. And then Supermaster Series, 11 points. Euro Series, 14 points. Italian Champ, no. FIA, where was it? 14 points. Yes, 14 points. And then OKJ, 2. I'll give that 2 points. That's 16 points up to here with the OKJ. And then this is going to be 3 points each. So that's 22 points. And I won't look at this stuff here. And then he wins a couple of smaller categories. So that's 24. And then the OK, right? The OK is the high level. South Garda, not so much. Give that a point, so it's 25. Second in the OK. So that, and this is not junior anymore, so that's 3 points. So that's 28. Italian Championship, I'll just give that because that's only a regional one, I'll give that 2 points, so that's 30. WSK Euro Series, okay, I'll give that 35. Champions Cup, I'll give that 2 points, is 37. Super Master Series, I'll give that another 3 points, is 40. And then here he wins the European Championship, so I'll give that 45 points for karting, right? And at that time, 2021, the end of 2021, he's 14 years old, right? Not going to worry about the trophy. So in 2022, no, he's 2006. So he's 15 years old, sorry. And in 2022, he wins 2 F4 championships. And this is his first season here in karting. So first year in car racing. So I'll give 20 points for both series. And that would bring him to 82 points. And that means he gets a super license. So even though this is a tough one, uh, Antonelli still gets a super license because he's achieved a lot, including by the time of his 16th birthday, he's got 2 Formula 4 like before his 17th birthday, he's already got 2 Formula 4 championships, plus he's got a wealth of karting at the highest level. Uh, and I think, and then even if I ignore the karting, right? So I give him 40 points because in his first year of car racing, first year at Formula 4 level, he's got 2 Formula 4 championships. So that's 40 points. And his first year at Formula Regional level, he's going to win Formula Regional Middle East. So that's 70 points, I believe. Let me just double check that because I think this here, yeah, 40 plus 20 plus 20 must be 70. So that's already, even without karting, he already gets the super license points. So either way, so Max Verstappen gets there with karting, and Kimi Antonelli gets there with karting plus Formula 4, or ignore the karting in the Formula 4 and the Formula Regional. All right, and by the end of 2023, Sevens hasn't, before his 18th birthday, he needs 65 points. Once he's 18, he needs 75 points, but he'll have way more than that. So he would have got a super license point, a super license. No problem at all. Colton Herter. Would he have got a super license under my system? You know, I don't know much about international karting, but he gets 3 points from me because of his karting career, okay? Because he's won these small things called cadet. Now, I look, and in his first year of car racing, he's won something called Pacific Formula F1600, right? To me, that's his first year of car racing, and I think he's only 13 years old. When's he born? He's born 2000, isn't he? Like January year 2000? Oh, March 2000. Sorry. Is that March? It doesn't matter. March 2000. So he's got 3 points from karting, and that sounds like Formula 4 level. I know that at that time there wasn't a thing called Formula 4 in the United States. So Formula, he gets 20 points for that. So he's up to 23, and then he doesn't add to that, and then he does MSA, and he finishes MSA's Formula 4 level. So he finishes third. It's doesn't get any points for that because it's he's already in his third season of Formula level. So he's up to 23. Now, he finishes third in the Euro Formula Open. Now, the thing about the Euro Formula Open, that's actually a level up. And it's his first year, so that's another 10 points. So he's up to 33. And then this is still his first season at that level, and he finishes Spanish Formula 3 second place. So that'd be another 15 points from me. So he's up to 23, 30, 48 by the end of 2016, and he's going to turn 2017 in. He's going to be 17, 20, and so he needs to get 65 points, which he doesn't, right? So he gets another 10 points, which brings him up to 58 by the end of 2017. And by the end of 2018, he repeats Indy Lights. Here it is, Indy Next. They changed the name, same thing. I've put on the same level as Formula Regional European Championship. And for finishing second in his second year, he gets another 10 points. So he's 68. But he needs to have 75 by the time he's 18. Then he doesn't finish in the top three in the series until he finishes third in his second year of IndyCar. Right, so he's finished 37th in 2018, but that's only one race, so that doesn't count. First proper season IndyCar is 2019, finishes 7th, and 2020 finishes 3rd. Now, he's 20 in that year, and he needs 100 points. So he's got 68 from his junior career. By finishing 3rd in his second year, he gets 50 points. And that means that under my system, in 2020, Colton Herta would already have had a super license when he's 20 years old and would have been able to compete in Formula One. Let's look at Victor Martins. All right, this is a driver that's been on Formula One for a while now, a Formula 3 champion, but has struggled since his first season in F2 to make an impression. So I'll look at this. Okay, 1 point for minor title, 2 points. This sounds high level, so 5, 8. The World Championship, FIA. 8 points from karting. So before, and in his second season of F4, I can't count his first because he's only competed in 4 races. First season of F4, he's finished second, and that gives him 10 points. So he's up to 18 points. And then in his second season of Formula Renault Euro Cup, I'm going to put that on the level of Formula Regional European. Second year, he finishes second, and that gets him 10 points. So we've got 28 so far, and then he wins it on his third attempt, which is 58 points. And he's 19 at this point. So, and then he wins F3 in his second year, and that is 25. So, and at that point he's 21. So if I go back 8, 18, 28, 28, 48, 73 points, right? So he's got 73 points, but he's already over 20, and he's never finished in the top 3 in F3, so he would not get a super license with Victor Martins. So Paul Aaron is the driver that finished 3rd behind Bortoleto and Hadjar in the last season of Formula 2, and by the current system, he would get the exact same amount of points as Gabriel Bortoleto. Now, I don't know who. I can't imagine. I watched the 2024 F2 season, and the difference to me is that I can see clearly that Gabriel Bortoleto drove more cleanly than Paul Aron and maximised his opportunities. So the fact they get the same amount of super license points is, I don't agree with it. But let's just have a look at. He's had good results generally. So I think WSK Champions Cup, OKJ, I'll give 3 points for that, 3 points for that, 3 points for that, 1 point for that. So he's got 10 points from karting, so that's not bad. And let's have a look at what he does in his junior career. In F4, he's finished third on debut, so that's 5 points. If you win it in your rookie season, you finish third, you'll get 5 points. So it's 15 points. And he's born 2024, so he's 15 at that age. Then he goes to Formula Regional European Championship. It's his it's firstly it's Euro Cup. First season he finishes 11th. Second season he finishes third, and that's no points. And his third season he finishes third, and that's no points. And I'm not sure what the Orem GT is, but it's a one race only. Then his first season of F3, he finishes third, so that's 30 points. Because he already had 15, 10 from karting, 5 from F4, and then 15 points for finishing third. F3 first season, and then F2 first season, he finishes 70. All right, and at that point, hasn't had his 21st birthday yet, so he would have been eligible for a super license. He would have hit the exact target of 100 points. So yes, Paul Aron gets a super license by 1 point. Who I think, what we have to look at. I like Zhou Guanyu. I'm sort of sad that he's not in Formula One anymore. I think he's a bit harshly criticised. But the thing is, was he really elite level? When we saw in 2024 the qualifying gap between himself and Valtteri Bottas, can you say that this driver is elite level? Well, I don't think so. Now, he's born in 1999, so always remember the age because it affects how many super license points they need to get. Right, so he's got 2 points for me from karting because I don't see anything there. Now, he's finished second in his first season of F4, actually. So that's not bad. That's not bad. So he would get 10 points. So he's got 12 points so far. And then he doesn't finish any higher than third until 2021. So by that time he's 22, and he needs to have a 22-year-old needs to have 130 points. So he's got 12 at this point, but then he finishes third in his third season of F2. But in the third season of F2, you don't get any super license points, and he's won F3 Asian Championship, which is a bit like Formula Regional Middle East, and he's done it. He's not a rookie anymore, so he doesn't get the 30 points. He only gets 15 points. So Zhou Guanyu would have 27 points at this time, and he would not get a super license point. Super license. Felipe Drugovich. He won F2 in his third season. He's only getting 2 WSK Champions Cup third. Gets 4 points because that's a high level karting championship. So 4 points for the karting, right? in his second year of F4, he's finished third. Actually, that's no points, is it? So we're going to look here at the bigger series. He's won something called the MRF Challenge. That's Formula 4 level. So that's it's Formula 4 level, isn't it? So I think he gets 10 points for that. So he's got 14 points as of the end of 2018. He's 18 years old. He's 17 years old at that time. However, he's dabbled a little bit in the F3 level, but his first proper season of F3 level racing, he's won 2 championships, and that'll give him 60 points. So he had 14, and now at the age of 18, he would have 74. So how short is he? I think that's one short. That's 1 point short. That's what it is, right? So he's got 74, and he doesn't finish in the top 10 till he's 22 years old, and he wins F2. So he gets 120 points on top of the 74, and that is 194. How many does he need? 130. So, and he only got there by winning. He didn't get there by finishing 4th or 5th or 7th. He got there by winning, and he would have been granted a super license. Well, a lot of people don't like Jack Doohan. A lot of people are nasty to poor old Jack. So he's got 4 points. No, yes, no, 3 points, because this is a second level championship. So you get 1 point for finishing third, and he gets a point each for these winning in the Australian. So that's 3 points from karting. Now, if I look here, he's born in 2003. So in his first year of Formula regional level, he's finished second in Formula Asia, so that's 15 points. So he's got 18 points as at the end of 2019, 16, and he needs to get more. And what's that? 18, and then he got another 10 for finishing second in the same championship in his second season. So that's 28, and then he finishes second on his second season of F3, and he's 8. So he's got 15 points for that. So that's 43, and he's 18 years old at that point, but it's still not enough. And he's finished third in his second year, and he doesn't get any points for that. So, which I think is a little bit unfair. I'll tell you why. Because in my opinion, Tao Pocher shouldn't have actually been in Formula 2 in 2023. I think he finished second in 2022. He's only 18 and a half or 19 years old, and I think he should have been in Formula 1. So I think basically Jack should have finished second in 2023. So maybe there should be points for finishing third in your second year, but I could only give 50. So even if I did, I think he's still a bit short, or he's very close to it actually, getting the super license in that case. But the point is, under this system that I've got, and under these circumstances, Jack Doohan doesn't get a super license. Franco Colapinto. Look at the karting. It's all right. 5 points from karting. South Garden. but it's okay. And then it's first proper year of um, car racing in Formula 4 racing. He wins it, so that's 25 points. Born 2003, so he wants to get 65 by 17, so that's 20 points. So 20 plus 5 is 25. At the Formula Renault Euro Cup, he's finished third in his first proper season. He's only done 4 races. So, and he's done 2 series where he's finished it. So he gets 45 by the end of 2020, which is about 20 short that he would need. And then we've got LMP2. He's finished third in his first season of that in the Asian Le Mans series. So I think I have Asian Le Mans here somewhere. And he's finished third, so it's 5 points. So I need to go back. Gets 25, 45, 50. He's up to 50 points. But he doesn't finish in the top 3 in the series again. He did finish 4th in F3 in his second year, so, but to me, by this super license system, Franco Colapinto doesn't get a super license. Marc Marquez. Alright. I think it's hard for anyone to argue that Marc Marquez isn't elite, but it's on 2 wheels. But does that mean it can't transfer to 4 wheels? Let's have a look at his. Let's see if he gets a super license. Let's have a look. So 125cc is a bit like Formula 3, I suppose. Drives with Red Bull. So what have we got here? Do I have Moto 3? No, I don't. Maybe that's a good thing because I've put it on a level that's not even there. But when he goes to Moto 2, I have Moto 2, and he finishes second in his first season. So that's 15 points. Now he's born in 1993. I've got to remember I think it's December. So he's got a bit more time than someone born earlier in the year. Is it December? Oh, February. I'm silly, aren't I? I was born in February. So yeah, so we're looking at this. Well, I've got other championship right here, 3. So let's give him 3 points for his 125cc championship, right? Then Moto 2, he gets, in 2011, he gets 15, so it's 18, and then he wins it, so it's 43 points, but then at the end of 2012, when he's 19, he's well short. He turns 20 in 2013, and he wins MotoGP on debut, and he has more than enough points. So yes, under my system, Marc Marquez would have gotten a super license point, was super license. Now, I think probably if you're coming from MotoGP or WRC, there should be some practice sessions perhaps that a driver should have to go through to get the super license. But definitely Marc Marquez would have got a super license. What about Kalle Rovanperä? He wants to come into Formula 1, right? Or Formula 2, whatever it is. So looking at Kalle Rovanperä's record, there's won WRC2 in his second year, and I don't put a time component on that, so it's 25 points. He's finished third, and then he's won it, so that's 30 points. But then he's gone on and won World Rally Championship twice, not in his debut season though. So all up, that's 230 points. He did that when he was, by the time of his 23rd birthday, and indeed he would have got a super license. So Carlo Rovanperä, yes, gets a super license. But as I said with Marc Marquez, I think drivers from such disciplines should probably do a test before they're granted a super license, but they definitely have the points. This super license system, point system I've come up with, isn't perfect. And we're going to see a couple of popular F1 drivers that didn't make the cut. I suppose you could say it about Jack Doohan and Franco Colapinto, but um, these drivers that definitely are on a high level in Formula One in a long time ago when they were in the junior formula, because back in those days there wasn't a super license point system, and there were no rules, so they could just sort of jump up to Formula One from Formula Regional or Formula 3 European or whatever. Oliver Bearman definitely earns his place in Formula One. Let's see if he gets a super license. Now, because I don't really know too much about the Miami karting, I'm going to give him 1 point for all this. 1, 2, 3, 4. But then it says senior here, so I'm going to give him 3 points for that. So that's 7 points from karting. His karting career doesn't really compare with Antonelli or Max. And then we look here at his junior career, and his first full, it wasn't until his second season in F4. Now, what was that? 7 points. So, and then he wins the. I made a mistake here. Italian F4 should get more points. Uh, anyway, that's. I'll worry about that another time. Second C, yeah, he's won 2 championships concurrently, so that's 27 points. And then he finishes third in F3 on his debut, and that's 15 points. So he doesn't have a lot of super license points, and Oliver Bearman doesn't get a super license. Now, do I think that's a mistake? Yes. Maybe Italian Formula 4, because that's a more competitive series, should get more super license points. And the other thing I could talk about is because he's finished third in his rookie season of F3, skip Formula Regional. So, I don't know. But, the thing is, he's not far behind Victor Martins, who eventually won it, right? The points are not different. So maybe that's something that needs to be looked into if we look at it. But let me see. As you can see, he's 7 points off Victor Martins, and yeah, very close to winning the championship. I think if he'd won the last race, he would have. So maybe that's something we need to look at. But anyway, 17, 7, 27, 43. But of course, another thing Bearman could do is the difference is, like, he went to F2 and he didn't get the super license points. If he'd gone to Super Formula and finished second or something, then he's already second or third. He's already got he would have got the super license points for sure. So maybe what this points is not that Oliver Bearman doesn't get a super license, but maybe he should have done some more racing before entering Formula One. Right, maybe that's what this means. Okay, let's see if Lance Stroll gets a super license. So his karting career at the very low level is very good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then scooters to 7. So let's say 9 points from karting. Probably it's okay. And then in his car career, he's won F4 on debut, and he's also no, he didn't. finishing the top 3 in Florida Winter Series. So F4 on debut is 20 points, and he's got 9 from karting, so that's 29. Then in his first go at Formula Regional, he's also won Toyota Racing Series, which is Formula Regional Oceania. So he's got 59, and then his second year of F3, he's won it. So he would have 84 points. By this time, the end of 2016, he's 18. And Lance Stroll would indeed get a super license because he only needs 75 and he's got 84. Does Nick De Vries get a super license? He won F2 in his third season. He's born 1995. Thing about De Vries, he has a good karting record. So WSK International KF3, that's 2 points. 3 points for, I won't include that. 5, say 26 points from karting, right? And then it's taken him until his third season to win Renault 2.0. He's got 2 Formula 4 level titles, so that would be 20 points. So, how many points do you have from karting again? 26. So that'd be 46 there. He's finished third in Formula Renault 3.5, which I'm putting on the Formula Regional level. Debut 7 season, so it'd be 56 points there. And that's not enough. And then he wins F2 in 2019. So he's 24 and he'll get 120 points. So 46, 56 and 120 is 176, and he's 24 and he needs 200 points. So actually he doesn't get a super license even though he wins F2 and it's his third season. He gets 120 points. He's already 24. He wins Formula E, I should say, in his second season. That's 175. So 100 and, was it 176? Yeah, 175. So it's 351 points, and he's in 2021. He is 26. So yes, he's got a super license point. There's only just, if he was 28, he wouldn't have had the super license because he did it when he's 26. He needs 300 points and he got it. So it wouldn't be until he won Formula E before he got the super license, which goes to show, right? This is rewarding drivers for excellence. It's not rewarding drivers for finishing, fourth in Formula Regional, 15 F3. It's rewarding drivers for winning championships. Like Nick Cassidy is a driver that drove in many different series. We can see he's done well in the New Zealand karting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. He's got 10 points from karting. And I've got to take into account of what year he's born. I think it's 1994. Yep, so it's got 10 points from karting. So he's got till 20. So we've got to take into account that. Formula First Manfield Winter Series. I think I'm going to put that in the other championship category. So he's got 13 points. And then he finishes second. This is all in his... and I'll give him 2 points. So it's 15. And F2 midget sounds like another minor championship, so I'll give him another 3 points for that. So That's 18, and he finishes second in a Formula Ford championship. So that's I'll probably give him 5 for that. So that's 23. Then he finishes second at Toyota Racing Series, and it's very hard to understand where all these different things are in terms of their level. These are old championships, of course. So let's say 30 points. So he's got 53 points as of 2011, and he's 17. And then he does it again when he's 18. He wins. Uh, he wins it, but it's his second year, so he only gets 15 points. So they finished second, so 23. He didn't win, he finished second first time. So 23, 38, wins it second time around. He's 53, still short of a super license. He gets 3 points for this V8 Supercar and Tour or whatever. It's another championship, so 56. And then he wins Toyota Racing Series again. So that's 71. But he's 19. Let's say he's 18 at that point, and he's still 4 points short. Japanese Formula 3, not a very high level series. But he wins it in his first time of asking. So I'm going to give him 30 points for that. And he's 21 at the time. So 71. So that's 101. And you're 21. You're still short because when you're 21, you need 110. He's got 101. So he's 9 points short. And then he goes and wins Super GT. And there's this Super GT. There we go. So, but he's 23 by that time. So he's got 126 points, and at 23, you need 160, 101, 126. Yeah, 126. Then the next year, when he's 24, he does second year of Super Formula, and he's got 75 points for that. So 126, that brings him to 201, plus he finishes second in the GT. So we're talking 2018 here, and he gets 15. So he's got 216 points when he's 24, and he only needs 200. So in 2018, by racing in many different series and by finishing first or second, Nick Cassidy would have indeed got a super license. Does Stoffel Vandoorne get a super license? Surely he does, right? He wins F2, doesn't he? So let's see. Karting, not much to see there. 2 points for that. F4, Euro Cup, whatever. First go, he wins it after 14 races, and he finishes third in another series. So that's, to me, that's 25. So he's 27 points. All right. Now, what year is he born? 1992. He's got 27 points. No, he's got 22 points by the time he's 19, which is not enough. And he wins F4 level series again, and that makes it 32. And then in Formula Renault 3.5, which is on the level of Formula Regional European, he finishes second first time of asking. So 32 plus 20 is 52 as of 2013. When he's 21, it's not enough. And then he finishes second in his first season, 150 points. And at this point, he's 22. But the 150 points, because he finishes so high in the F2 standings, second in his first year, the 150 points plus the points he already had means he definitely would have had a super license. So Stoffel Van Dorn gets a super license. Alex Albon, this is another one I disagree with. I think he just misses out. Let's see. Because I don't give points for third place, right? And maybe I should, but to me, should be elite. How's his karting? It's all right. 1, 2, 7, 8, 14. No, 12 plus the big ones. Oh, that's very good. 3 points each, so 18 points from karting, not bad. He's finished third in his, but when he's taken him 3 seasons just to finish third in F4, and there's no points for that. He's finished third in his second in his first series, so 18 point of F3. So that's 25 plus 18 is 43, and then it takes him 2 seasons to finish third in F2, and he's already 22, and Alex Albon doesn't get a super license, and I think that, I mean, maybe that just means he should have kept going. Yeah, but of course, as I say, back then things weren't as hectic about super license points as they are now. Sometimes when you're looking at the drivers from previous times, they weren't so focused on getting super license points. But maybe third in the second season should be 50 points. If I did that, it's just I don't like to. To me, if you win, you win, right? Finish third, well, I definitely don't want to give points for four. But if I give 50, right? So he's 22. I still think it's not enough because he's already 22. But again, this age obsession started recently. So 130, 50 for 50 plus 75 there, plus his 18. No, it's not enough. So I think I've already given that away because I said he shouldn't have been in F2 anyway. But let's just have a look at what he would have got. So karting, not bad. The junior stuff, there's a lot of championships. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then he's gone to a higher level here, so 13. But this is like regional, so I'm only going to give it to 13 points. And in the big, like the European Championship, he's only finished 8th. His first season of F4, he's finished 3rd, gets 5, so it's 18. And his second season, he wins it. That's a different series, so that's 18 plus 10 is 28. His first go at Formula 3, he's got 25 points for finishing second. So that's 53. He's finished 5th in his first season of F2, that's no points. In his second season, he finishes second, that's 170 points. So, anyway, point is he's 19 at the time. So, he's definitely at the end of 2022 got a super license. And as I said, in my opinion, he shouldn't have been in F2 in 2023 because I think he'd already shown enough to be in Formula One. Let's have a look at Fred Vesti because he finished second in that season of probably 1, 2, 3, the minor championships, WSK Final Cup. 5, let's say 5 points, and finishes second in the Danish F4. So that's in his second season. So that's how many points do you have for karting again? 4, 9 points, and then his first time in Formula Regional European, he's won it. So that's 49 points. At that time, he's 17, so he's a bit short. But then when he's 21, he's finished second and he gets 120, and that puts him well over the required. That puts him just over, just on that alone. He goes already. Yeah, he's got a super license point. So Frederick Vesti gets a super license point. Should Robert Schwartzman does he get a super license? Let's see. So karting, uh, 1, 2, 3 minor championships, then OK Juniors 4, and then WSK Final Cup or 6. Well, I think that's a good result. Third in the in the FIA World Championship. So that's hang on. OK Juniors, yeah. So and then in his first proper season of F4, he's won it. So if he's got 6 points from karting, then he's got 26, and then he's 2016 is a bit of a lost year. Oh no, he's finished third. Sorry, my mistake. So it's 11 points. And then he finishes on a Formula 4 level. Oh no, Formula Renault Euro Cup, which is like I've put on the level of Formula Regional European. So he's got 11 points, and then he finishes third. So 21 points. Then in the second year of Formula Regional level, he wins Toyota Racing Series, which is Formula Regional Oceania. So that's 15 points. So 36. And then he wins F3 on debut, which is 50. So that's 86. Now, how old is he at the time? He's already 20, so needs 100 points when he's 20. He's got 86, but then when he's 22, he finishes second in F2, which is 120 points. So that puts him close to, or probably 206 points. So yes, Robert Schwartzman gets a super license point, a super license at the end of 2021. Does Logan Sargent get a super license under my points system? His karting is all right, but most of it's like a regional area. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11, 12. Oh, this is quite good. 12, 15. Oh, this is good too. 20 points from karting. So not bad from Logan Sargent. And then he finishes second in his first attempt at a Formula 4 championship. So that brings him up to 30 points. And by finishing third with Carlin doesn't add to that because it's not his first. Oh, he's 16. Hang on. No, it is his first proper year, yes. So still gets 5. So he gets 35 points. 2017, he's 17. He's 30 short. And Macau Grand Prix, he finishes third. So he'll get 20, 36. And then in his second year of Formula 3, finishes third. Is that any points? He never finishes in the top 3 of a championship again. So, no, Logan Sargent would not have gotten a super license. It was on the edge of Formula 1 before ending up in Formula E. I'm not going to give any points for his karting career, though. Scusa, I don't know. But in the first, when he goes to cars, he's improved a lot. So he's born 2003. So when he's 16, he wins British F4. So that's 20 points. And then he finishes fourth in the Formula Regional European Championship. No points for fourth. and he finishes second in F3 and DB, so he's got 45 points. And by finishing fourth in his second year of F4 doesn't point. So, no, Zane Maloney doesn't get a super license. Does Nikita Mazepin get a super license? Let's have a look at his karting career. He's got 4 points. That's actually a good result. FIA World Championship, high level second. Okay, so it's 4 points. And he's finished F3 second on his debut season. So that's 29 points. He wins Formula Regional Middle East, then known as F3 Asian Championship. They're similar level. And actually doesn't get any points for that because it's not his first year at that level. And doesn't get any more points and no super license for Nikita Mazepin. Does Taylor Barno get a super license on my system? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh wow, that's actually impressive. That's a good karting record. Wow. Okay, so 4, 7, 10, 13, 16, 19, 24, 27, 30 points from karting. Wow, fabulous. I think that's that's close there with Antonelli. Now, 30 points from karting. He's born 2004, so he's doing this Formula 4, and it's not until his second season that he finishes second. So that's 5 points. So that's 35. Then he goes to Formula Regional, finishes second, and that's 15. So that's 50 points. And then in his second season, he's got 60 points because he finishes second in the Formula Regional Middle East in his second season. So he's short, and he's 20, and he needs 100. And then in his first season of Formula E High Level Championship, finishes fourth. So it's 120. He's got 120 points, and he's done that by his 21st birthday. So he's got 120 points, and he's done that by his 21st birthday, and he does indeed get a super license. But he does it because he went to Formula E and finished fourth in the first season, which Formula E and IndyCar are two series that I give points to down to the top 5 super license points. Firstly, he's born in 99. Now, what have we got here? F4 Japanese. First proper season, he wins it, and then he finishes second. So that's 30 points there. I don't see a karting record. I don't know about karting. So 30 points. So 30 points as of 2017, and he's 18, so it's not enough. Second in Japanese F3, so that comes here. Second season, so it's 10 points, so it's 40 points, and he's 19 that year. And I don't know what this Super Taiku is, but I'll give him, he's finished second. Anyway, he's finished second again in Japanese, so that's 50 points. And then Super Formula Lights, he hasn't competed at that level, so he would get 40 points, and that would bring him to 80. But he needs 100 that year because that's 110 because he's already 21. So he needs 110. He's got 80. And then third season of Super Formula, he's finished as the winner. So that brings him up to 155, but he also wins Super GT, and that brings him up to 180. Now he's 23, 24 at that point. So actually, he wouldn't get the super license because he needs 200 by the time he's 24 and he only has 180. So no super license for Ritomo Miata. Tsunoda is, let's see, you got to remember it's a bit more difficult for drivers when they have to shift continents and stuff. But he has a karting record. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points. I'll give him for that. I don't know that, and I don't know what this FJ is. What did I say? 7 points. Yep, 7 points. I'll give him 3 points for this thing as other championships. That's 10 points. JP, JF Formula 4 E Series, he wins. F4 first year's is 5 points, isn't it? So 7, 10, 15 here. Born 2017. 6 points for that. That's only half, so I'll give him 15, 18, and he's second year, proper year of racing cars, he wins F4. So 27, and then he finishes third on his F3. So he'd be 77. Actually, Yuki Tsunoda wouldn't get a super license. And that's another one I disagree with, actually. Oh, no, hang on. 97. He gets... So he's 3 points short. I know, what can I say? Yeah, he's 3 points short. But no, I think it would have been easy for him to get the 3 points. Yeah, I'm surprised. If my mate had 75, then he's over the line. Should it be said? So this is a work in progress, right? But it's just the beginning of an idea as a MotoGP champion. I'm mentioning him because I said I would have given a super license to Marquez, right? And obviously these guys don't have a karting championship to consider. He's born 1997, and he doesn't win his first MotoGP. He wins Moto 2 when he's 21, so it's 25, and then he finishes second in MotoGP, and that's not his first year, so that's 75, and he wins it in 22. So that's 100 points. So that's 175, and he's 25 at that point. So he's going to be 25. He needs 250. He's got 175, and then by the time he's 26, he needs 300. So he wins it again. He's short, and then he finishes second. So let me see. Right, so 25, 75, 175, 275. By the time he is 26 and he's 25 short, and in 2024, so actually in 2024, Francesco Bagnaia, at the age of 27, does finally get a super license. So if you're a very good MotoGP rider, my system will give you the chance, but you have to do it. If he'd waited another year, if he hadn't finished second or first in 2024, he wouldn't have got the super license. He just gets it by that much. Amazing, really. Is there anyone else I can look at? I'll finish it off with the current F2 Championship leader, Leonardo Fornaroli. So, look at his career, karting, nothing much to speak of, and no, there's nothing until 2024. He's 19 and he finishes first in F2 in his second year. And that means he gets 25 points. So if he is going to get a super license, it's dependent upon him winning F2 this year, which would give him 170, and he's 20, and or maybe 21 because he has his birthday in December. But the point is, they have 25 points, and he needs to finish in the top two. But he'll get his super license provided he stays in the top two of the championship. If he drops out of the top two, he wouldn't, in my system, get a super license. Who else is there to look at? I can't think of anyone. I suppose Luke Browning, but I'll leave that for another day. Again, he might drop below third. He's got finished third in his second year of F3. But he won GB3. Yeah, but anyway, the point is that we've had a look at some drivers and you've got an idea. It's not a perfect system, but I think it helps to ensures that the drivers that are coming through from the junior series to F1 are elite level drivers. They're not just very good drivers. Very good drivers, because there's such a blockage in F1 in terms of seats. It's very hard to get in F1 now. So, so to me, it's not fair if you make it too open. And now, the way the current system is, it wants to confirm that you're competent enough to drive an F1 car, but it doesn't want to test if you're an elite level driver. And as I said, there's a couple of them I didn't agree with. But someone, as I said, probably Oliver Beeman's the one I disagree with. But as I said, he could have gone to another series after that before entering Formula One, and like Super Formula, and got the necessary points, and would come to Formula One as a more complete driver.